As Christians, how do we respond to the events that unfolded on Sunday, where a Jewish festival is happening and two men opened fire? How, as Christians, do we respond to tragic events like this? We don't respond with revenge or hatred or anything like that. So how do we respond? What is a Christian way to go about this? Let's take a look in this video. The response and outcry and outpouring of love and hope from the people around the world and Australians as well has been fantastic so far. You've seen people come together, there's been vigils, and people are really responding to help each other. And one of the biggest things I've seen is they were needing blood, and people have overwhelmed the Lifeblood program to donate blood, which is just a great example of Aussie spirit, really, in coming together in tragic events. Obviously, there is lots of mourning to be done. This was a tragic event and an event that shouldn't have happened. It was just the ideology of two men, as I've mentioned before, has been horrific. The radical Islam ideology, which has just permeated too much and has led to this event, which is just so sorrowful. And I'm just praying that as Christians we stand with our brothers and sisters in this tragic time. But it's unfortunate that the rise of anti-Semitism has been going up in the last few years since October 7th, 2023. And we've got to really look at the heart of the people, and some of the things that have been happening. We've had the pro-Palestine protests, which have had chants of, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Now, if you look at it, the Jordan River to the sea encompasses all of Israel. That is a statement of Israel removed, which is horrendous. Now, as I've said in many videos, I don't agree with everything Israel has done militarily. I do believe in their right to defend themselves, and I think there's just been tragedy and horrors on both sides, and there's been innocent blood spilt on the Palestinian side as well. I'm not unsympathetic to that as well, but what has been breeding is a spirit of hatred, and there's been attacks happening quite recently with a Jewish childcare centre and a Jewish synagogue, and all these different things have been building up, and then we finally got this, which is horrific. And the worst thing about it is the younger man that is allegedly one of the shooters, he has been on a watch list since 2019 with apparent links to ISIS, so to speak. So it's how he was able to be on a watch list and nothing done. Is it because we're in a place where we're not allowed to talk about the evils of some ideologies? And that's the thing, we're a society that is too weak. And I wonder if our silence has been complicit in Australian society, where we've just let this happen. I'm not saying everyone has, but have we stood up enough against this evil? Has the church stood up enough? Because whatever Israel's faults, and they have many as well, they are not perfect, as I've said. They've done some things that are not right either. But Satan is working hard to attack Israel and those nations, and there is just an anger towards Israeli people and Jews themselves, and it's just come to the forefront of a massive terror attack. And if you look at Matthew 2:18, it says, "A voice is heard in Ramah, weeping in great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more." So as Christians, we need to stand with the Jewish community. We need to pray with them. We need to be with them, come alongside them, help them where we can, mourn along with them, and pray for the peace in our nation and others as well. But let me just go into this part as well, which I found. There was a great article that I read in the Daily Declaration. It's a news site with different contributors. Dr. Barry Manuel wrote this article, and it's interesting because it's posing some real thoughtful questions that I think we need to just consider and maybe take a look at in our society. So let's have a look at this. Islamophobia a Christian perspective. And then there was this is Australia's Envoy of Islamophobia released 54 recommendations on how to combat Islamophobia. Now, this is the report with different things addressing the issues against Islam, and it continues on and on. I've heard Andrew Sedra from Echo Church say that, well, he is Islamophobic because the ideology of Islam is inherently evil. Not all Muslims, and not this is the ideology of Islam itself. And I don't hate Muslims because I want them to come to the knowledge of Jesus Christ. There's a huge awakening in some of those Muslim countries. But there are concerns, and this article goes through it. And I like this first part. It says, why is there a concern about Islam in the wider community? Are there valid reasons to view Islam with suspicion? And he says, I think there are, because Muslims tend not to assimilate in the same manner that other migrant groups have. Muslims are often in the news for protesting issues that do not concern mainstream Australia. Now, and that's right, because Australia is a nation built on migrants. Obviously, we have the indigenous people that have been in this land for a long, long time, and then we've had lots of immigrants, and pretty much anyone who came here would be a migrant from 200-300 years ago. But what happened with the immigrants coming in many generations to Australia was they all immigrated, and then came and became part of our culture, and they will keep their own culture as they should, because different cultures are great. And for Croatia and Macedonia, those places, and Asian nations as well, and it's great, and that's why Australia is so multicultural as well, and we've got lots of people that have come here for a new life, and it's fantastic. I don't have a problem with immigration, but when people who are radical Islamists come into this country and start dominating, you can see it, like it says here, where there's Muslim majority countries where Islam is dominant, and there is intolerance of other religions. And I've talked about Nigeria as being one issue. Ayan Hirsi Ali also, she was a Muslim and then was an atheist, and now is a Christian, I believe. And she wrote a book called Infidel, and she was threatened with lots of things as well because she rejected Islam. And of course, the Quran, we need to look at the Quran. Now, this is a surah, but there's other parts where it says that you shall fight with the Jews and those types of things. But if you look at some of these statements, slay the unbelievers. Muslims must not take infidels as their friends. Do not seek peace with the infidels. Behead them when you catch them. And the Quran has similar statements. And I love this part. Disagreement is not hate. Because we can completely disagree with the ideology of Islam, which I do. And it doesn't mean we are being hateful with that hate speech. We just don't agree with that, and it's not compatible with the Western world. It's not compatible with Australian values. Even though Australia has strayed from Judeo-Christian views, it is still built on Christian values. And we need to be able to criticize. We need to be able to do that, because this is why anti-Semitism is rising. And again, the final thing, Christianity and Islam are definitely not compatible, because we believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that he died and rose again, where Muslims reject that idea completely, and they think he was just a prophet. And so there is huge differences. Now, obviously, the Quran references Jesus and a few other ones, but they don't believe he rose again, as I said, because they believe that Muhammad is the final prophet. And we have the right to say that we don't want the Islamic ideology to be part of this society or culture. And I think, as believers, responding in the wake of all this is we need to pray for our Muslim friends and our Jewish friends, that they come to know Jesus Christ, the only way, because Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now, this doesn't mean that we move into hate, because what happened many years ago there was a riot based on hatred between white Australians and Arabic people, and I think we need to not go near that. We need to, as Christians, retribution is not something we do, because in Matthew, Jesus actually talked about, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, but I say, no, turn the other cheek in a way. That doesn't mean justice shouldn't be done for the perpetrators. The weight of the law should come down on them completely. But as Christians, our response is not revenge. We shouldn't go seeking revenge. I've already seen something from there's an unfortunate group of Australians called neo-Nazis who are, again, wicked people as well. I do not agree with their stance on things. But I've seen little snippets of, let's go out and harass people of Arabic descent. And I think that's vile. I think that is wrong. That is not the way that society is. We should not be going anywhere near that type of thing. We should be praying for those people because, again, it was those two men that committed the crime, not the other people. I might not like the ideology of Islam at all, but we don't go and revenge. We don't go with hate. We don't go with violence. We go with prayer and love. And Jesus said, you've heard it said, you shall love your neighbor. You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. That's what we need to do. And that is from Jesus, the words from Jesus. So I think that's the way that we go about this. Is obviously there's nuance to this and things like that, but they're my thoughts and on how we should proceed with this, because Christianity and Islam are not compatible. The radical Islam ideology has not worked. You can see it, what's happening in London, what's happening in Paris. And so we need to be careful that it doesn't happen in our own countries, because we need to stand on the biblical values that a lot of this nation was founded upon, was Christian values. And we need to hold on to that and not be afraid to speak out against Islam. We should have every right to speak out against the evils of the Islamic ideology. But finally, I think the most important thing, as I've said, is we just need to continue to pray. Continue to pray for those people affected. Because we've had at least 16 people that have lost family members, sons, daughters, wives, and that's tragic. And we just need to keep praying for them and keep loving on them and doing what we can to help people get through this crisis. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I've also started a Patreon. You can look at the link in the description below, and if you feel like giving to this channel and helping it grow that way, you can do that as well, but otherwise you can still enjoy free content. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next video. Cheers.